Q&A with Christophe.
Q&A with Christophe.
Q&A with Christophe.
Hello, another question from a viewer. This time it's from Rob. Rob's from Canada and is asking a simple question. With the arrival of the new Trump administration, do you expect a change in the world trade of agricultural commodities? Well, simple answer is yes, of course, because when you impose tariffs, then you get tariffs imposed against you, or there are anyway some retaliation happening, and you suffer. Just let's look at the first administration of Trump. Well, he went in a commercial fight with China. And China basically changed completely the way they were sourcing grains, soy and corn, and they went a lot more to Argentina, to Brazil, to South America. And they have not really come back a whole lot to the US. And also, by the way, when that happened, the US government had to spend billions and billions of dollars to help the farmers, just keeping their heads out of water because they were suffering from the retaliation from China. So, which is why I always say, in the end, tariffs never work, protectionist measures never really work, because you always get, you get in a fight, and even if you can land a few good punches, you're also going to get a few, you're going to on the receiving end of punches too, and it's going to hurt you. So yeah, it's going to change things. But the thing is, beyond the tariffs, beyond the short-term little, squibbles, what we're going to see really is a loss of trust. What I'm concerned is that the US is going to get more and more isolated. And not just isolated, but people are not knowing exactly what to expect next. They're going to basically diversify where they buy things and where they sell things. They're going to try to avoid putting themselves in a place where they can get a punishment anytime. So yeah, we're going to see, but I think a region that is going to benefit a lot is definitely South America. I think not just for grain, but and it's not just about tariffs and the Trump administration, but when you see what is happening in California and the drought that has been happening for a number of years, I think what we'll see with climate change in general is in the world is going to be a shift of where certain productions are produced. So things are going to move around, and that's going to play a role. And South America, if you start from Mexico all the way down to Tierra del Fuego, there is a huge diversity of climatic conditions. If the governments in all those countries really want to play a central role on the world stage, I think there are great opportunities for all those countries in Latin America to really take new markets, to become strong and competitive in a lot of areas, as well as crops, as in animal productions. And I also would say with produce, let's face it, the world is going to need a lot more vegetables, going to need a lot more fruit, and those countries are definitely in a good position to, let's say, potentially take over, for instance, from California, if California was to reduce its production of produce. And the other thing, also playing a little bit along with what Trump is announcing, is the fact that a lot of the agricultural workers that come to the US to do the harvest, well, are from Latin America, and so maybe they could be used in Latin America to produce Latin American produce that it would be exported to the US or Canada or wherever in the world. So yeah, I definitely think that the potential for Latin America is there. I don't know if they will take the opportunity. Let's face it, there is also a huge diversity of kind of governments in Latin America, so it's not like that they all will probably see where the advantage is, but nonetheless. And let's face it, the world's also changing. yeah, we see a lot more, connections a little bit more outside of the Western world, between, Middle East, China, the rest of Asia, Russia, and let's face it, Russia, for whatever we might think of Russia, it is a major player in a lot of commodities. It's a major player in agricultural commodities, but also a major player in natural commodities. Oil, gas. It's one of the main producer of fertilizers and so on and so on. So Russia has to be taken into the mix also in looking at the future of trade of let's say agriculture and agricultural inputs and everything around food and agriculture. So there's a lot of things probably going to change. I think, a lot of countries are going to try to reduce their exposure from the US, just simply, even if they're not hit by tariffs, just simply because they want to reduce the risk. And yes, so that's going to be a new deal. How is that going to work? I don't know. I think the US is not going to win as much as Donald Trump thinks out of a commercial war. I think commercial war, to me, it's just a lose-lose proposition. I don't think there is ever a winner in commercial wars. In the end, and the main loser is always the consumer, because everything becomes more and more expensive, which impacts the economy. So. We'll see, but I think the world is just going to try to find alternatives, which makes sense. It's just like if you invest some money, you're going to try to, if there is a risk in the market, you're going to change where you invest your money, just to make sure that you have less exposure to higher risk, and that you're not going to lose everything. So I think buyers and sellers everywhere in the world are going to follow that rule, and that's going to shape the future. Now, what exactly is going to be? I don't think there's going to be a total reversal of the situation, but I think the US is going to lose friends, is going to lose a lot of partners, and let's face it, if you want to find something in this world, you can find it. There's no problem. And you're Canadian, so I can talk about the Canadian situation. As you know, there is a lot of issues around 25% tariffs on a lot of things, and the Canadian government is kind of hinting that things like orange juice and all. Yeah, of course you can buy orange juice in other countries. The US is not the only producer of oranges. The thing is, in the world everywhere there are people who produce something that other people want, and everywhere there are people who want something that is produced somewhere else. And that's the beauty of trade. Trade is actually the best medicine against war. And I think, if we start a commercial war, God knows what kind of other wars we can trigger down the road. So, there will be a flow. People will buy whatever they want. The prices will change, and I think that the consumers are going to see the bill when they go shopping. That's what it is. There will be some hiccups. There might be some periods where things are going to be a little tough, but in the end, I think we'll get back to more reasonable thinking. But at the moment, of course, there's a lot of theater. So let's that happen, and we'll see.
If you're interested in my videos, please click on the subscribe button, or you can also visit my website.